As the Ukrainian troops in the fiercest battles near Bakhmut and Soledar, where according to some reports the Ukrainian military has already killed over 30,000 Russian soldiers in the last 2 months of defense, are quickly running out of Soviet heavy weapons. Western leaders, represented by the presidents of Poland and Lithuania at a meeting with President Zelensky in the Ukrainian city of Lviv a few days ago, directly stated that they were ready to immediately replace them with Western ones. We're talking about tanks, and not any tanks, namely the legendary German Leopard 2 tanks. Because this Ukrainian-Russian war is becoming the largest ever confrontation between Russian and Western armaments, and members of the alliance simply need to show their superiority. A few days later, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak made the same statement, stating that his country was also sending a squadron of Challenger 2 tanks to Ukraine in support of Poland and Lithuania. But why did the West decide to hand over modern tanks and not something simpler? The thing is that the same German Leopard 1 tank created in the mid-1960s can hardly seriously compete with the upgraded Russian T-72B3 tank, not to mention the T-90A tank. As for the American Abrams tank, the issue of their delivery is still open. And maybe in the coming days the US Congress will still give the green light to send them to Ukraine, but so far there's no such information. In this video, we'll tell you about the Leopard 2 and assess whether it can worthily stand up to the Russian equipment and confidently defend the democratic values. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and let's start. The main battle tank in Europe, the Leopard 2, has replaced the Abrams, a much more expensive tank with similar performance. The significantly lower price range of Leopard 2 tanks is a big advantage for Germany. For example, the latest redesigned version of the Leopard 2A6 costs $6.79 million. At the same time, its competitors are much more expensive. The price of the Abrams M1A2 SEP reaches $8.5 million. The British Challenger 2 will cost $8.6 million, and the French AMX-56 Leclerc breaks records and costs $10 million. However, for Ukraine, the price fluctuations are not significant. The supply of weapons is carried out on the terms of a land lease, which does not aim to seek any payments for the delivered weapons. It's assumed that, just like during the Second World War, the recipient country will pay only for the equipment received under the land lease, which it decides to keep after the war. More importantly, Ukraine needs Leopard 2 to effectively fight the Russian main battle tank T-72B3, which is widely used by Russian troops during the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Leopard 2 was created amid fears of a full-scale war in Europe, which was predicted by NATO. In the event of an escalation of the conflict, strategists expected an invasion of Soviet tanks, ironically the leading of which was the T-72. This tank was another German improvement in preparation for conflict with the Soviet Union. It was expected that sooner or later they'd clash in battle. Just as in 1943 near Prokhorovka, German Tigers fought against the T-43. During the war with the USSR, important problems for Germany were problems with resources, engine power, and most importantly, the Germans did not know how to repair their complex tanks in the field. The modified Leopard 2 is quite bulky and heavy, but it completely overcame the problems of then Germany. The Leopard 2 combines good maintainability, the complete power pack can be replaced even in the field in 35 minutes, and many other improvements. Thus, the mileage of Leopard 2 before overhaul is 10,000 kilometers. The power plant is a turbo diesel engine with a capacity of 1,500 horsepower, combined into one unit with a hydromechanical transmission. Let's not forget about the different dimensions of this battle tank. Its whole length is 7.7 meters. Its width is 3.7 meters, and its height is 2.8 meters. Weight, 63 tons. Excellent performance characteristics. You might think that's all, but the tank has other advantages. A smoothbore Rheinmetall gun, along with modern ammunition and 2 machine guns, is what the Leopard 2 is equipped with. But there's no automatic charger. Because of this, there are 3 people in the engine compartment of the tank: commander, gunner, and loader. And that's not all. In the rear of the turret, there's a part of the ammunition. Now you know why Leopard 2 has such a characteristic silhouette that cannot be confused with any other, especially when the turret is deployed across the stern. The niche where the shells lie is equipped with bouncing panels. It's believed that when a shell hits the powder cellar of such a design, people have more chances to survive. Leopard 2's been in service since 1979 and belongs to the 3rd generation of tanks Over the years, it's been improved, re-equipped, and even changed its appearance. The tank's equipped with an excellent Zeiss sight, an effective fire control system, thermal imagers that provide all-round visibility for all crew members, a fire extinguishing system, as well as multi-layer armor upholstered on the inside with anti-shrapnel mats. The latest and most relevant modifications are 2A5 and 2A6. The latest modification, 2A7 Plus, was made in 2010. It improved the fire control system, added an auxiliary power plant and an auxiliary weapons module, and digitized the turret. The first test of Leopard 2 took place during the events in Yugoslavia. Then in the Balkans, German tanks regularly participated in various operations and events, periodically coming under enemy fire. However, the enemy army did not have heavy or serious weapons in its arsenal, so the tanks did not suffer any losses. Leopard 2 tanks also served in Afghanistan, where serious incidents occurred only when the tanks ran over mines and improvised explosive devices. The biggest losses Leopards 2 suffered was during participation in the war in Syria. The total losses amounted to 10 tanks. All of them were destroyed by anti-tank systems. It should be added that Turkey has Leopards 2A4, which have no dynamic protection at all. Therefore, when firing in the side or aft projection, they can be reached by the Soviet primitive RPG-7. We've completely gone through all the components and history of the Leopard 2. Now it's time to talk about the current possible enemy of this powerful German tank. This is the Russian T-72B3 tank that Leopard 2 will have to face if it gets to Ukraine. The main battle tank, T-72, appeared in 1973, after which it was modernized for several days. The latest version of the T-72B3 appeared in 2011. A possible advantage is that the Russian tank is much lighter than the German tank, only 46 tons. However, the Russian tanks of the first years of production were equipped with an 840 horsepower engine, which is why the specific power was only 18.3 horsepower per ton. At the same time, Leopard 2, thanks to its 1500 horsepower engine, has 23.8 horsepower per ton. That is, by these indicators, German is frankly leading. But with the new wave of modernization which occurred in 2016, the T-72B3 is equipped with an 1130 horsepower engine. Therefore, the specific thrust of the Russian tank immediately jumped to 24.5 horsepower per ton. It's worth noting that some of the characteristics of the T-72: it has a smoothbore 125mm gun, 2A46 M5, which is at least as good as the 120mm Leopard. In addition, the T-72 has an automatic loader, so there are 2 people in the turret instead of 3. This reduces the size of the turret. The T-72B3 compared to the Leopard 2 generally looks like a teenager compared to a grown man. It's more than 17 feet lower, 33 feet shorter. Add to this a rounded shape, optimal for the ricochet of enemy shells, good armor, and dynamic protection on early modifications Contact 5, on later Relief. So Leopard 2 has a well-armed, protected, restless enemy. We hope that the installed first-class Zeiss optics and modern electronics will help overcome Russian aggression thanks to its powerful sight, so equal opponents will meet in Ukraine. But as always, the success of combat use at the equality of forces depends on the ability of commanders and specific crews to properly use the available material. And this is where the Russian side has a great advantage, because for the Ukrainian army, Leopard 2 is an unfamiliar vehicle. Russian tankers have driven their T-72s for thousands of kilometers on training grounds, but in any case, Leopard 2 should be in Ukraine. After all, in addition to experience, the motivation of the personnel plays an important role, which Ukrainians have enough of. They're fighting for their country's independence, families, and homes. What do you think about all this? Will the German Leopard 2 help Ukrainians in their war against the Russians? Write about it in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and like our videos if you like them. This will help spread our content to other people interested in it. We'll see you soon. There are many more interesting reviews of various weapons waiting for you.